That of course brings us to our wonderful partners, and where else better to start than Westpac. Westpac, Will, thank you so much for hosting us tonight in this amazing room. As a startup charity, we're certainly very privileged to have this type of venue to be having our AGM, and we certainly just are amazing. Thank you so much for that. It's pretty remarkable when you think about it, but when you look at Westpac's vision, which is to help communities, customers, and people to prosper and grow, you can see so much alignment between their vision and what we're doing at Head Start Homes. So a big thank you to Westpac.
It's a real pleasure to be able to welcome you all here on behalf of Westpac, and Westpac is the founding partner for Head Start Homes. A key part of our vision is to responsibly help Australians own their own home. And why? It's because home ownership really, really matters. Home ownership matters on so many different levels. It matters to the strength of the Australian economy, and that's all being played out in the press today. But I think more importantly that home ownership matters to the fabric of the society that we want to live in. I think the statistics speak for themselves when you compare societies with high levels of home ownership versus societies with low levels of home ownership. The levels of education, employment, crime, drug abuse, domestic violence, all of those things are multiplied out in societies where there's low levels of home ownership. So it's really important for us, and we think it's important for the Westpac Group to continue to drive a high level of home ownership within the Australian society. That stuff aside, a lot of people have spoken about tonight, there's a much more bigger emotional reason why home ownership is important. I mean, we want to provide an area where people can grow their families and raise their families to go on to be productive members of that society going forward. So there's a multiplier effect for that, for the family we put in, that's going to generate a large number of really productive members of our society. I remember distinctly probably the first time I met Stephen, probably a year and a half ago, in a room down from this, and I popped up my diary, Stephen Williams, Head Start Homes. I'm like, oh God, what the hell is this? And so I came up and I was like, oh, nice to meet you. What are we talking about? And Stephen said, oh, I'm here to talk about Head Start Homes. And I really remember that meeting so clearly because I was struck by, as a lot of people have mentioned, the simplicity of the idea, right? In terms of exactly why hasn't this been done before? And I thought to myself, wow, here is a way that, we've worked so hard at a macro level to drive home ownership, but here's a way that we can have a really direct impact right at the coalface with the people who need it most. And what I loved about it was the fact that it was a double whammy. You took someone who was in community housing, gave them a permanent home for them to feel stable, and then you took someone in impermanent housing, put them into permanent housing, and then took someone off the street into impermanent housing. And that chain effect, just thought, this is amazing. But not just a double whammy impact. The thing about this idea is it is so scalable. Like we can do with one applicant today. In AGM in a year's time, I think we're going to be hopefully talking about 4 or 5, and then the year after that, 10 or 20, and just the ability for this to steamroll and multiply is huge.